Hello everyone, today I'm going to be talking about if you should roll for Dan Hong IL from Star Rail. I will be going over his kit, what characters you want to use with him, how you want to build him, to overall see if he's a character you want to summon for. So let's get started with his basic attack. He does a 2-hit attack that deals imaginary damage to a single enemy that scales off attack. His skill is an enhancement skill where it has 3 enhancements that changes and buffs his basic attack. Also from his skill, it gives him Outward stacks where it gives him crit damage from every 4th hit of a total of 4 stacks for a maximum of 48% crit damage. His 3 different enhanced basic attacks increases his damage against a single target that scales off attack but also sums damage to adjacent enemies if you enhance it to 2 or 3. Each enhancement costs 1 skill point, so he can consume 3 skill points, which is a lot. However, he does have a built-in buff that can help with that. That is in his ultimate, where it does a 3-hit attack that deals imaginary damage that scales off attack to a single target and some to adjacent enemies. Using his ultimate grants him a point buff called Squalma Stacks, where it is a point system that allows Dan to use these to enhance his basic attack from his skill instead of consuming skill points. He can hold up to 3 stacks, and the use of his ultimate gives him 2. His talent after each hit during an attack grants him stacks called Righteous Heart, where it increases his damage up to 6 stacks for a maximum of 60% damage increase. And finally, his technique puts him in a state where when he attacks an enemy, deals imaginary damage to enemies when entering a battle and gets 1 Squalma stack. His traces gives him crit rate, imaginary damage, and HP, and his trace buffs are 1. At the start of the battle, immediately regenerates 15 energy. His second one increases the chance to resist crowd control debuffs by 35%, and his third one, Dan's crit damage, increases by 24% when dealing damage to enemy targets with imaginary weakness. And then his Eidolons. His first one increases the stacks of Righteous Heart count by 4 and gains 1 extra stack after each hit. His second one, after ult, Dan gets advanced forward by 100% and gains 1 extra Squalma stack. His fourth one, Outward, lasts until the end of his turn, and his sixth one, after an ally used their ultimate, the imaginary resistance penetration of Dan's next enhancement 3 basic attack increases by 20%, which can stack up to 3 times for a total of 60%. So overall, he seems pretty good. He has built-in buffs that increases his damage. He has AoE attacks that allows him to not only attack a single enemy, but to multiple enemies, which is pretty nice. However, the one issue that people are going to find with him is that he can consume a lot of skill points if you don't have his ultimate. So what characters can you use with him? One that is pretty obvious to use with him is Ting Wen. She gives him an attack which he scales off of, and she gives him a lot of energy which allows him to consistently use his ultimate and use his enhanced 3 basic attack. Other supports that you can use with him is Locha, because he is a great consistent healer and he is also imaginary, which can help against enemies with imaginary weakness. If you don't have him, then Natasha is also a good healer to use. You can use Pella because she grants defense reduction to enemies, which can help increase his damage. Also, she would be good to have, or any other character that grants debuffs to enemies, because the way you want to build Dan is by putting him on the imaginary set, because it gives him damage bonus and crit stats from the 4-piece effect, but he can only get it against debuff enemies, so it's important to have a debuffer on your team. For 2-piece, you want arena set because most of his damage comes from his basic attacks. The stats you want to give him is crit on the body piece, speed on your boots. You can go for attack if you are going for E2 to maximize his damage if you like. I highly recommend energy rope because his ultimate is important, but if your team can consistently use skill points with Dan, then you can go for attack, and obviously imaginary damage for sphere. For light cones, you can give him his 5-star signature, Brighter Than the Sun. It gives him crit rate, attack percent, and energy regeneration. If not, you can give him his best 4-star light cone, Secret Foe, which increases his damage. If not, you can give him his best 3-star light cone, Collapsing Sky, which increases his basic attack damage. So with all that on how he works and how you build him, is he a character worth getting? Personally, I think he's going to be a great character, but considering who is out now, like Blade, and who's going to come out like Jimmy Liu, I think he's going to be a skip if you want the best damage dealers. But regardless, I think he's going to be a very nice damage dealer that can hold up his own. The only thing holding him back is his skill point consumption, because generally, I think a lot of people are not going to be able to utilize his skill point consumption due to their build or characters. But yeah, that is all I have to say about should you summon for Dan Hong IL. Thank you guys so much for watching. If you enjoyed the video and found it helpful, then subscribe to the channel for more content. Leave a like on the video to support it. Check out my Twitch for my live streams. The link will be in the description below. That's it for today, and I hope you guys have a wonderful day. Peace.